I'm joined in the studio by Steenhaut from software solutions provider Nuance and microbusiness specialist Tony Robinson to talk about solutions to improving efficiency and innovation in small businesses in the UK, France and Germany. Why you decided to carry out this piece of research?
Well, although being a US-based company, a fair amount of our business is being done in Europe, and we definitely want to grow that. Now, in order to achieve that, we need to understand the market much better. Because there's a big difference between the US market and the European market. Traditionally, historically, European market is an SME market. They count for 75% of the employment in Europe. So it's not a neglectable market. And therefore the survey, because we really want to know what's keeping these people, these business owners up at night. And that's the interesting part of it.
And what were the key findings? Were there any that were of particular surprise to you?
Well, some surprises, yes, but good ones. For example, we noted that 70% of the business owners have a good feeling about how they are managing their business in terms of commercial relationships, finance relationship, financial implications. They have their administration under control, but under these numbers there's an underlying concern. 80% of them feel there's room for improvement. That's one thing we find it. A second thing we discovered is, and it's not a surprise, but they are really focused on the here and now. A long-term vision, some of them have it, but the majority is not thinking on here and the next 5 years. And thirdly, and that's also not a surprise, a lot of these businesses have red tape issues, which we or they can't solve, so it is there and it's there to stay. Yeah. But they highlighted the fact that a lot of redundant and non-productive tasks is a waste of time, and it's hindering the evolution of their business. So these were the three key findings.
Tony, you've obviously looked in detail at the report. Yeah. Was there anything that surprised you? You know SMEs and micro-businesses extremely well.
I was really encouraged by the report, Jane. I think that what it showed is that they are very aware of their businesses. They're very proud of what they're already efficient at. And I personally believe that a business owner-led business is more efficient, is more productive, is more innovative. For example, in the UK, nearly all the innovation comes from micro-businesses. That's businesses between 0 and 9 employees. And most of the growth in jobs comes from micro-businesses as well. Yeah. So I was really encouraged by it. But as Stephen said, there's room for improvement. And that's good that they recognise that there's room for improvement as well.
And did they identify specifically where they felt there was room for improvement? Was it in, for example, marketing or communications, or was it in the area of technology?
I think the main concern they have is technology, because these are business owners. They are specialists in their own domains, whether it's advertising or whether it's printing, but they don't have a grip on technology, on IT, which is a fast-moving world. Who knows about the cloud? Who knows about CRM systems? Who knows about speech recognition? This is new, so they are a little bit afraid to take that step, which is perfectly normal. But we need to push them to make that step, because, like Tony was rightfully saying, the biggest advantages of an SME or SMB in that sense is being agile, it's being flexible, it's being entrepreneurial, and they need to embrace that also on the level of IT and technology.
Yeah.
And it's moving so quickly as well, Jane. I mean, I think that's the other thing, is that they need to understand what's happening in the various countries. They need to understand what's happening with their competition. Basically, corporates are in meltdown, if you like, at the moment, and so therefore self-employment and business ownership is incredibly important to every economy in the UK. And the survival and growth of those micro-business owners is absolutely essential. And naturally, number one is customers, number two is cash flow. The business owner's got to concentrate on those two, and they need to be backed up by good technology.
Yeah. So the respondents were from the UK, France and Germany. Did any interesting differences emerge between those three countries?
Yeah. I wouldn't say it's surprisingly. We all know the Germans are very straightforward, planning, a long time ahead. So it's clear that the penetration of new technologies in Germany is much higher. For me, it came to a surprise that also France is embracing technology in a bigger way than the UK is doing. So that's a little bit an underlying concern for UK business owners that their competitors, because we all live in an open economy and the economy is more and more open, they are taking steps they are not yet doing. So it's a kind of threat which is at their back. So they need to be vigilant about that.
Because of course what technology should be doing for us is freeing us up, and I'm a micro business owner myself, freeing us up to do the thing that we're good at.
Yes.
And quite often it's preventing us from focusing on the thing that we're doing at, because it's getting in the way.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, I think as Stephen has said, I mean, it was interesting that administration was the one that they felt they were most effective at. Now, everything shows that the first thing you do as a business owner, as soon as you can, is actually get somebody to help you, a bookkeeper, a virtual assistant, somebody to help you with the administration. So in actual fact, it's the one thing that is probably not done by the business owner, which is the one that they think they're most efficient at. It's really interesting. So yeah, they've got to embrace new technologies.
So a lot of this is about attitude, isn't it? It's about the relationship between the individuals, the human beings, and the technology, and being able, daring to ask for help.
Yeah, go outside. If we can't expect from a business owner that he is a product specialist, that he is a HR manager, that he is a finance manager, that he is an IT manager. This is impossible. So he needs to be able to focus on what he is good in and call in specialized help and rely on people, but keep control. That's something I still remember. My grandfather, who had his own business several years ago, he said there are two things important in that business: is having a good bookkeeper, because he is managing the money, and have reliable people, but control, be in charge of things. And this is a lesson I will never forget, and I think it's very true.
Yeah.
I think the other thing is the UK is slightly different from Germany and France, where it's much more formal. Businesses are actually, the registration process is more difficult. You've got to be able to earn more money in order to go self-employed because of the social charges you're paying and various things. So in the UK, it's much more flexible, much more agile. And what we've seen is the massive growth in the same way as the US, which has got 1 in 3 people are now self-employed running their own business. It's 1 in 6 in the UK, is that we get people collaborating on things like technology. So instead of the business owner saying, well, I'm not very good at that, and I'll learn how to do it, they take on a virtual assistant, or now there are many sales platforms like People Per Hour and freelancer.com and various things where they can just get a task paid for by somebody. So it's not always about them embracing the technology, it could be about getting somebody else to do it as well. So my virtual assistant is fantastic on speech recognition, PDFs, and that's great, isn't it? You know, the business and great thing about the cloud is that we can share everything between us, and it's wonderful.
Just going back to what Stony is saying, do you know, Jane, how much it costs to recreate a document which got lost?
In money terms? No.
It's $250. So every document which is being lost or needs to be recreated or being edited, it's costing the business $250. And I'm fairly sure that the business owner really wants to invest that money in finding new customers, for example. So investing in PDF technology, in getting that document stream under control, in investing in new technologies like speech recognition, these are very small investments. We are talking here about £100 per software, and the return on investment is so much higher. So it's something where the business owner, by definition, should have an eye for.
That's very little, actually. I'm surprised that it's such a small investment. Again, back to attitude. I think a lot of micro owners assume it's going to cost a huge amount of money. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.